Mr. Gordon Clark, you are a chairperson of Quality and Qualification in Ireland and have a considerable experience in the field of vet and lifelong learning. Could you tell me, please, how you personally see the priorities and program of the Irish presidency in relation to the review of EQUAVET?
Thank you very much for asking that question. I'm delighted to be here. I'm not actually representing the Irish Department of Education, but I have very well informed about its programme and its priorities. And I think that this is part of a development which has been taking place over many years. I mentioned yesterday in my speech that Ireland was very involved in developing common principles for quality assurance back in 2004, leading to the adoption of EQUAVET. And now with the forthcoming events, this is the first few weeks of the Irish presidency, there's a particular emphasis on quality assurance in vocational education and training. But within the context of the importance of the quality and relevance of education and training relating to the needs of the labour market. So the Irish presidency foresees several events. There will be an important conference in March in Dublin on quality assurance in qualification frameworks. And this will also address the issue of the involvement of labour market stakeholders in quality assurance. And the issue of quality assurance will also be at the top of the agenda for the meeting of the Director Generals of Vocational Education and Training in Ireland during the Irish presidency. So what is important, I think, in relation to EQUAVET is to see that quality assurance should underpin the development and implementation of national qualification frameworks. National qualification frameworks based on learning outcomes. So we're talking about the importance of quality assuring learning outcomes, student outcomes, which are relevant and attractive in terms of the labour market, in terms of the labour market's needs. And how does one go about doing this? Firstly, as I've already said, the involvement of the stakeholders, the involvement of employers, and the involvement of students, of learners in this process, in the process of quality assurance. But it also means looking at the quality assurance of programme and curricula development, the quality assurance of assessment, and probably most important, the quality assurance of the professional development, the initial and continuing professional development of teachers and trainers, so that quality assurance is an integral part of their work and that they see it as being so. This is very, very important. I should also add that workplace learning, which has been discussed during this conference quite a lot, its importance is a priority, and the quality assurance of workplace learning, workplace training is essential, as is the quality assurance of the validation of non-formal and informal learning. So it's learning acquired in whatever way is necessary, not simply in terms of duration. So these would be my main points coming out of the programme and priorities of the presidency. And I think it is very closely linked to the European agenda in terms of the development and implementation of national qualification frameworks for lifelong learning, which need to be underpinned by quality assurance systems for both vocational education and training and for higher education. I would also say, and this is not actually included in the Irish presidency programme, that it would be interesting to look at the whole area of the accreditation of providers, the quality assurance issues relating to the accreditation of providers, and see whether this, to consider whether this could be a part of the future of EQUAVET, Equivet, sorry, which is being reviewed at the moment and considered how it could be developed. So they would be my broad ideas.
May I ask you another question? What will be, according to you, the impact of Equivet in the activation of the labour market needs?
I think that Equivet will have an impact if it is seen to be not only a set of principles and guidelines, but if it is seen to be a reference point, a sort of a benchmark for quality assurance, linked very much to the needs of the labour market, linked to the knowledge, skills and competences which are required by employers and required by learners, by students. But it would only work if Equivet is underpinned by practical tools, a toolbox, if you like, of tools and examples of good practice, which can serve as models for all the various levels involved in quality assurance, whether it's managers, whether it's teachers or trainers, whether it's employers. So you need to have the broad framework, but it has to be underpinned by user-friendly, concrete, practical tools which are available and which involve all the relevant stakeholders, as I said before, particularly the employers and the students.
Will you take some best practices from all these 5 projects we've developed today?
Yes, I think that's the way. One of the ways of taking this forward is identifying good and best practice, and I think this conference has given us the opportunity to do that. I attended the sessions on the Romanian case, and I found it very interesting, and the way in which the different perspectives of stakeholders were developed and considered. I think this can be seen as a starting point for good practice and best practice, and this needs to be made available, as I said, alongside the toolbox to underpin the general principles and guidelines. I mean, the whole aim of this, as we've heard, is to make vocational education and training more relevant, more attractive, and therefore more meaningful for the lives of our citizens, and particularly for potential learners, students.
Thank you, Gordon, for all these explanations, and we are very pleased to have your strong experience of lifelong learning and quality assurance. Thank you very much.
Thank you.